step into the light. Words are the tools, we'll use them right. Every idea starts with a sound. Here in this space, learning is found. Listen and learn, speak and grow. Every question helps you know. One small step every day, brighter dreams are on the way. Letters form thoughts, thoughts form a voice. Knowledge expands.
Hello my students, I'm Simon Tayongwa. Welcome to my channel. Please don't forget to subscribe, like and share. Like I always say, it's a good practice and it's you who keep me going. Like I promised in the previous lesson, today I'm going to talk about adjectives. So let me give you the definition before we get into details. Adjectives are descriptors or qualifiers and quantifiers of nouns and pronouns. So adjectives describe or qualify and quantify nouns and pronouns. So adjectives are within the confinement of merely describing or qualifying and quantifying nouns and pronouns. That is very clear. It's going to get clearer and clearer as we delve into the subject. I'm going to give you a list of types of adjectives that we have. Grammarians normally say we have 6 to 13 types. You know, grammarians are good at splitting hairs, but I want us to center on 8 types of adjectives. I think these should suffice. All right. So I'm going to give you a list of these 8 types of adjectives that we have, and we are going to discuss them during this wonderful lesson. All right. List of today's discussion. Number 1, descriptive or qualitative adjectives. Number 2, quantitative adjectives. Number 3, numerical adjectives. Number 4, demonstrative adjectives. Number 5, possessive adjectives. Number 6, interrogative adjectives. Number 7, distributive adjectives. And number 8, proper adjectives. This is going to be a very exciting lesson. We want to unravel these adjectives. All right. We will start. Firstly, let's look at descriptive or qualitative adjectives. These adjectives describe the quality, color, size, shape, or appearance of a noun. For example, gorgeous, fat, blue, secular, and tall. Let's try and use these examples in sentences. Our first example would be, he was wearing a blue suit. Our second example would be the circular table was full of wine glasses. He was wearing a blue suit. So blue is the descriptive color of the suit. So blue is the descriptive adjective in this particular sentence. And the next one is the circular table was full of wine glasses. It's the shape of the table. I've moved away a bit from the commonly known round table, because it has a literal and a figurative meaning. So I've just decided to avoid the figurative one. And the next example would be, his sister is gorgeous. Or we can simply say, Mary's sister is gorgeous. That means she's strikingly beautiful. We move on to the next type of adjectives, which are quantitative adjectives. These show quantity or amount, as in how much or how many. Examples: some, many, few, several, little, all, half, enough, sufficient. Let's select 3 of those listed adjectives and use them in sentences. Our first example would be, there are several factors to your incompetence. And so several is the quantitative adjective preceding factors. Our second example would be, some of my students are participating in the spelling bee. So it's some being the quantitative adjective of my students. And then our third example would be, I need enough money for the Okavango trip. So it's enough as a quantitative adjective to money. So far so good, right? Let's move on to the next type of adjectives, which are numerical adjectives. These tell us exact numbers or order of nouns. Examples are 1, 2, 3. These are cardinal numbers. And then we have first, second, third, which are ordinal numbers. The cardinal numbers are the exact numbers, and the ordinal numbers tell us of positions or ranks, or anything of that order: first position, second position, or first dan, second dan, third dan. Those are ranks in Kung Fu or Karate. I'm not so sure, but those are ordinal numbers. We move on to examples in sentences. Our first example would be, I have 3 bank accounts. So it's 3 is a numerical adjective to the exact number of accounts. And our second example would be only two of my students didn't make it to the finals in the USA. And our third example would be, this is the third episode of my lessons. So we have used two exact numbers, the cardinal numbers, and one ordinal number to substantiate our examples. So let's move on to the next type of adjectives, which is as a set, which is as adjectives, which are demonstrative adjectives. These adjectives specify nouns and answer which one. Which one are we talking about? So examples are these, those, this, that. Let's try and use these adjectives in sentences. Our first example would be, that boy is the one who passed with flying colors. The boy did extremely well. Our second example would be, this ruler is made of plastic. This ruler. So this is the demonstrative adjective preceding ruler. Then we have our third example, which is, these grapes are fresh. So that's it about demonstrative pronoun adjectives. Demonstrative adjectives. Sorry, my apologies. We move on to possessive adjectives. Possessive adjectives are words placed directly before nouns to show possession, ownership, or relationship. For example, my, your, his, her, its, our, their. So I want you to note, it's my, not mine. It's my, just my. It's your, not yours, just your. And it's her, not hers. It's our, not ours. It's their, not theirs. These are possessive adjectives. Now let's try and use them in sentences. Our first example would be, his book is dirty. That's our first example. And our second example would be, their engagement was vibrant. This is a ceremony before a wedding, which is normally called an engagement ceremony. So in this particular case, that's what we are referring to. Their engagement was vibrant. And our last example in this segment of possessive adjectives would be, my students always pass their exams. All right. And let's move on to interrogative adjectives. These adjectives are used to formulate questions that address nouns. For example, what, whose, and which. What book are you reading? Is our first example in a sentence. What book are you reading? I want you to note These words are placed directly before nouns so that they are safely called interrogative adjectives. Once there's a space between, once there's something infixed between these words and the nouns they're referring to, their title automatically changes. I'll talk about that in a short while. Let's go on to the next example, which is, whose bike is this? And the third example, which color do you prefer? They come directly before nouns. If not, they become interrogative pronouns. For example, what is the book you are reading? This is no longer an interrogative adjective, but an interrogative pronoun. Whose is it? This whose is no longer serving as an interrogative adjective, but an interrogative pronoun. And which is your preferred color? This particular word is no longer serving as an interrogative adjective, but an interrogative pronoun. We move on to distributive adjectives. These adjectives refer to each individual or group of a group or groups separately. Examples are either, neither, each, every. Let's try and use these in sentences. Our first example would be, each group must formulate at least 3 questions. And our second example would be, every teacher must be held accountable for abuse of authority. Finally, our last example in this segment, neither town is suitable for me. That's it about distributive adjectives. And lastly, let's talk about proper adjectives. These adjectives are formed from proper nouns and refer to a specific country, place, or person. So these are formulated from proper nouns, or we could say in the language that we know, these are inflected nouns, so that they become proper adjectives. So these are proper adjectives from proper nouns. For example, Zimbabwean, it is a country where I come from, called Zimbabwe. So I am Zimbabwean. Then another example would be Polish, from Poland. That's where people whose proper names, the proper nouns, were inflected because of various activities or achievements. For example, Shakespeare, which was inflected to Shakespearean, and then Victoria to Victorian. And then we go to religions. We have Christian from Christ and Buddhist from Buddha. That's all about proper adjectives. All right. I'd like to believe this has been quite a prolific lesson. Thank you, students, for attending class. Thank you, viewers, for watching. There are still plenty of lessons ahead of us, and I always appreciate your support. Please take care. See you then.